We're over 2 million now. And yeah, we're scaling quick. $0 to 2 million in about 12 months. Agencies has been our biggest driver of revenue for a while now, probably the past 6 months. It's been our biggest channel, and I expect it to be our biggest channel as we scale even further.
Hey everyone, I'm here with Shaan here from Alia Learn, and today we're going to be asking him 10 questions over 20 minutes, and we're going to be picking his brain, and you're going to extract as much value as you can to scale your own SaaS, your product, or your Shopify app, what have you. This is part of a 10-part series where I interview 10 Shopify app founders on how they hit their first mil and how they moved on from there. Shaan is the first guest of this series, so please give him a warm welcome. And yeah, please, bro, feel free. This guy's a G. This guy's a killer. Feel free to introduce yourself quickly, and then we'll just get right into the question.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for having me, man. And I appreciate the kind words for the intro. So yeah, I'm Shaan. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Alia. Started the company about 2 years ago while I was in college. Last year, went from working with about 20 brands in January to now having over 1,000, and scaled from $0 to 2 million in about 12 months.
12 months, $0 to 2 million. We're going to learn exactly how in the next couple minutes. Okay, so number one, the first question, Shaan, what pain or gap did you see in the Shopify ecosystem or just in the market that made you want to build this app? What inspired it? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I mean, majority of stores in the world have a pop-up, right? From the largest stores in the world, I mean, Shopify stores like Skims, Dr. Sweat, like Tom's, Nike, Breeze, like all these massive stores, these pop-ups, as well as the smaller stores, and even outside of that, even massive corporations like Puma, Walmart, what have you, like Lifetime, Equinox, like every single website has a pop-up, right? So it's like pretty huge market, and a pop-up is typically one of those things that's often ignored. However, if you can actually optimize the pop-up, you can see significantly higher revenue from the welcome flow. And if we are able to create a product that is significantly better than what's on the market, we can serve merchants and make them a lot more money. Another piece was I was building something similar in college at the same time. Not really exactly what it is today, but like some variation of what we do for college, and just like in a club in college. And I was like, I think this can be used more broadly. So a combination of those two things led me to start building the app. Obviously we pivoted, changed, what have you, but yeah, it's been a good journey.
And okay, so was there any reason you chose like the Shopify app space in particular as opposed to like some other industry?
No, I mean, honestly, like I didn't know that much when we started. I was pretty clueless, but I knew Shopify was quite large, and I felt that the brands I respected were on Shopify, so I thought it's a good place to start.
Okay. Would you say like it's a good place to start even today, like for people or just like developers or aspiring entrepreneurs who want to build like a product?
Yeah, I'd say so. Like I think there's over 4 million stores on Shopify, and there's no shortage of big stores, there's no shortage of small stores, and there's no shortage of new stores coming on. So I think it's the best ecosystem to build in. And I think Shopify in general is like a company you want to associate yourself with.
Yeah, it makes sense. Next question. Walk me through how you got your first 100 paying users. Was it App Store traffic, outreach, a cold email blind? What was it?
All cold email, pretty much. Like we got our first 40 through cold email. Sorry, probably the first 40 or so through cold email. Like our first 2 customers when we just started the company. When I was graduating college, we were one was like my co-founder's cousin. And the other was like this girl. This is very random. Just people that were willing to use our pop-up very early. And then, as we started to expand, I would go and message and go to cold email and be like, hey, we have 2 customers. Do you want to get a third? No, we have 3 customers. Do you want to be our 4th? Right. So we were able to scale a good way that way. We weren't sending cold emails at scale in the beginning. We were kind of just doing personalized touches because we didn't really know what cold email was. We were just whatever. I used my college address, my college email to send out emails and got some bites. And then, we learned more. Snowball effect, goes word of mouth. When you have a good product and you have a great service, word of mouth and referrals snowball more. So yeah, we grew that way. And then I'd say the first 40 customers were all outbound, and then probably another 20, 35 word of mouth referrals.
Okay, got you. So for some actionable tips for the viewers here, when you say cold outbounds, approximately how many emails do you think you were sending per day, per week? And then also, what was sort of your angle in the email? Was it very long? Was it short? Was it what was it?
Yeah, I mean, you probably sent out 1,000 a week, which I know isn't a huge number, and I know people send a lot more volume than that, but that's what we were doing.
You weren't using any systems, you guys were doing this manually.
No. We started using systems after that. We started using whatever. We used Apollo, we used Store Leads, we used Instantly. stuff like that.
Okay, so your main tech stack for the cold outbound guys, for whoever's watching, is Apollo, and then you said store leads, and then instantly. Yeah, that's a pretty familiar tech stack. I have a lot of agency friends in the space too. They use a similar thing.
Yeah.
One of our other clients, ListKit, also does the same thing, provides B2B data for anyone watching. So you could also check them out. But okay, no, that's super cool. Okay, so cold email got you about your first 40 users. You built a stellar product that helped snowball word of mouth. That just further scaled everything. So, well, that makes me want to ask, like, from those first 100 users, how did you scale to your next, like, how did you go beyond that? Was there like one specific channel that really did it for you?
Yeah, so for us, right? So after the first 100, 150, we actually haven't done outbound since then, but we've scaled even quicker than before. You know, it's one of those things where if you get a good brand, other brands who are also well-known like to work with you too. So there is snowball effects to this thing, right? It's like, you know, you just have more trust. The calls, the demos go easier. Bigger brands book demos because you have better social proof. The brands, if your product is good and ours is good, you have better word of mouth, more referrals. Stuff like that just helps, right? There's a snowball effect of that. Plus, agencies has been our biggest driver of revenue for a while now, probably the past 6 months. So, you know, agencies work super well with us because retention agencies, their job is to make more money for their customers. Our job is to get more emails. The more emails a retention agency gets for their customers, the more money they can possibly make. So it's a really good partnership. And, you know, we send a bunch of business back and forth to agencies. We do rev share, we do all that good stuff. And it's been our biggest channel, and I expect it to be our biggest channel as we scale even further.
Big point there that Shaan made, guys. So when he says agencies, he's talking about agencies that serve e-commerce brands that would use a software like Alia to implement pop-ups for their client stores. Instead of reaching out to 30 different people, think about reaching out to 3 different agency owners with high quality outreach or a lot of consistency, and you may have well over 100 ideal customers right there. That's the broader point Shaan's making here.
It's, you know, it's one of those things where when you have a product, as that's my product, where it's really easy to show it. You know, you can be like, hey, my friend, I have this sick pop-up. Let me show you. Like, it's an easy thing to demonstrate. Creates virality, creates good word of mouth. By nature of the product we serve, it can become a pretty viral product, which is nice. And yeah, like the agencies also talk. And I post a lot on Twitter. I post a lot on LinkedIn. So I'm connected to a lot of these folks. So like they'll see my content, they'll reach out.
That's fair. All right. So if I, and I also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I did read something online too that said, did you also do like door-to-door stuff? Like with stores?
Yeah, I mean, that was like back in the day when we didn't really have much. We went door-to-door to stores. I mean, at the end of the day, like that was more just like vibes, because if they're working in a retail store, they're probably not the e-com end. They're probably different people.
Yeah, so that's Shaan's marketing journey. Started with cold outbound, and also just like in his network and his mutuals, he got his first couple users there, built a really good product, leaned on that word of mouth. While that was happening, he shared his wins and his strategies and just general company updates on LinkedIn. That started stacking up as well. And on top of that, he heavily leaned on those agency partnerships, which brought him dozens of clients at once, which just really helped push them further. Thing there?
No, you're good, bro. You got it.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. So my fourth question, Shaan, is like, what was that inflection point, right? Like, what was the first moment you realized this might actually scale and we're not going to pivot and work on something else? Like, you know, it's very common phenomenon that happens. People shiny object syndrome, jump product or whatever. So how did you sort of combat that? How did you stick with it? And then when did you realize that this was something worth sticking?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think kind of like our 5th month in business, I met this one company and they were like dying to invest in us really early, which to me was pretty cool. We hopped on a call and they were like, how can I invest? Like, I'll be your first check-in. Right? And it was like, they loved the product. Like, they were that enthralled by the product that they were like, I want to give you money, like as a company. To me, that was like a good inflection point to be like, oh, okay, we're probably building something cool here. If our customers are interested in giving us money to build a company, like it probably means we're doing something good. That was a good inflection point for me. I think another one was we signed Virality, which is Shopify's president. The Shopify president's actually his store, Virality. They're actually one of our first 20 customers. So like when you sign a huge client that early, also the Shopify president, it's like, okay, this is probably a good sign that like we're building in the right direction. Whereas if you are having a bunch of friction on every call, nobody really wants to use it, which will happen. But like if it's like friction every single time and no one's like super excited, maybe it's not the right place to be building.
No, that's really cool. Yeah. So I guess like if you guys have VCs knocking on your door or investors like very curious about your product, and you also have Shopify's president's store like very interested in your app, then it's a very good sign that you're headed in the right direction.
Well, I mean, it's not VCs, it's a customer. asked to invest. But like VC is very different. I'm saying a customer asked to invest.
Okay, there you go. Like it was the actual customer that actually wanted to invest because they like the product so much. That's even better, arguably, right? So great stuff, great stuff. Okay, cool. And let's talk about like what specifically. Fifth question: what specifically helped reduce churn or increase lifetime value of a customer?
Yeah, I think if you can really prove value during the free trial period and be super hands-on, you have a better client. That helps a lot, right? Showing a value very early on. Instead of being like, oh, it'll come later. Like, if you can show value early on, they're more willing to stay for a long time. And they can even turn your product sometimes onto autopilot. Like a lot of our customers don't really even check the dashboard, but they keep paying us because they know it works. So that's good. Secondly, I mean, the most important part is customer support at the end of the day. Like the Shopify store owners have like 40,000 apps to choose from. They don't need to work with you. Like they can work with anyone else. If you have really good customer service, sometimes that can be a pretty big winning factor.
Okay, cool. I want to get some actionable tips from you from both of those pieces of advice, right? So the first thing you said was making sure that their first couple days in the free trial was very valuable and effective. So what are some tips you have to make those first couple days or that onboarding flow super effective? And then my second question is to your point on customer support, like how do you ensure you have good customer support? Is it like or do you do any weekly things or what's your hiring process like, stuff like that? So let's start.
Yeah, like on the first question, so what was the first question?
It was how you maximize the first couple days for the.
Yeah, I mean, number one is like white glove onboarding is huge, so just do that. Even though it takes time, just do it. And then just having a dashboard, they can see the metrics, and it's pretty obvious that it's doing well. Two pretty easy things. How to make sure you have a good CS is just be obsessive with responding. Respond immediately. Be extremely helpful. Don't take anything personal. If someone says something's your fault, like even if it's not, you don't really get angry or do anything like that. Like you just listen to them. Sometimes it is your fault. Sometimes it's not. Whatever it may be, like you just listen. Patience and obsessiveness with responding is like obsessiveness with responding immediately is.
Okay. No, those are really good points for sure. Someone should really make that into a checklist and then just hand it to their customer support team. Okay, cool. Okay. So when did you start hiring? And what were the first roles you filled? Because I know you built it with your roommate, but like from there, like when did you start? When did you know that it's time to expand? And then, what were the first roles you filled in your product?
Yeah, so it's me and my co-founder, one of my co-founders, and then my third co-founder came full-time as well, TO. So I'm CEO, I have a COO, and my CTO came full-time. So it's us three. And I think that it was like October last year. Our first hire ended up being a founding engineer, so a new engineer for us. My co-founder did all CS, I did all sales and marketing, and my third co-founder did all the engineering, so we hired someone else to help on the engineering side. To us, that's extremely important. We then hired customer success people, and those are the only hires we've made. But yeah, we've hired, I think, 5 as just customer success, support, onboarding, design, like all that stuff. We've hired them, and that's it. We haven't hired anyone else.
That makes sense. I suppose it is much faster, more efficient to have a co-founder by your side, right? Who's willing to put the blood, sweat, and tears just like you are, without much upfront capital expectations, anything like that. For those watching, like if you can, you got a roommate, you got a friend in college, you got someone who's just as hungry as you are, it might be worth looking into building it with them. Have them like lean on their strengths and just like have them own that part of the process for the growth of your company. Pricing strategy. How did you approach pricing?
We look at competitors. I mean, yeah, I'd say look at competitors' pricing and charge. Whether you want to be a premium app, that's fine, or you want to be a cheaper app, that's fine too. We chose to be a more premium app. That was just a decision we chose to make. Some apps are fine being like free. I don't want to play that game. I want to be expensive, and that's just kind of how it is.
That's fair. Cool. And when you look at like, your lucky break, let's say like every founder might have a lucky break or multiple lucky breaks that just happen to fall into place, which also contributed to their success alongside the hard work and perseverance. So what would you say your lucky break was?
Yeah, I mean, so our biggest competitor got acquired. Something called Amped. They got acquired in July of last year. I think it was July or August last year. So they got acquired, and then we took over all their customers, pretty much. So that was pretty huge. I mean, yeah, and again, like, I mean, yes, it's lucky that it happened, but at the same time, like we were positioned well enough to take advantage of it. Like, yeah, I saw on Twitter like 5 other people said, I'm gonna build the next Popup tool to replace Amped. Nobody else did it but us. So like, yeah, you can say it's lucky, and it did happen. At the end of the day, like we were prepared to become the next Popup tool. Nobody else in the market. Everybody could have done it, but we chose to do it, and then we built the company. These things happen for every founder, right? You can say, like, oh, this thing happened by luck, but at the end of the day, it's like, I mean, something like a catalyst took place, and my team was quick enough to jump on it and build product fast enough and iterate quick enough to beat everyone else out.
Yeah, I feel like that's an often overlooked point where it's like, yeah, opportunities come and go. You hear that a lot, but you also have to be in a position, you have to be primed to take that opportunity because that same opportunity is presenting itself to.
Yeah, everyone else has that opportunity.
Fair enough. Okay, cool. Literally just 2 more questions left. So number 9 is, what's the plan now? Like, so what revenue are you guys at currently? How do you plan on taking this to the next level? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're over 2 million now, and yeah, we're scaling quick. I mean, what's the plan, dude? Is like keep growing, keep building, get thousands of merchants.
You literally announced that you guys hit 1 million like a couple months ago.
Yeah. So essentially, like we hit 1 million and doubled 1 million in 3 months.
So like that's 90 days. What happened in those 90 days, by the way? Like, was there any like different marketing channel you guys did, or just do what you were doing just at a higher volume?
Yeah, it's more the latter. It's like the snowball effect. Do what you're doing, but more people care and more people listening. And we just have super low churn, so like everyone stays and more people come on, and we just make a lot more money that way. It's nice.
Cool. Awesome. Last thing here. What is your advice to any founders who are looking to build their own Shopify app? If you had any like one golden piece of advice they really need to hear, what would it be?
I'd say be diverse in your channels, because some channels may stop working, like cold outbound after some time may just get so saturated that it stops working. If you rely too heavily on the Shopify App Store, you can get crushed as well, because who knows what's going to happen with the algo there, right? Like if you rely too much on Google or whatever, like you can get crushed. So it's like, have diversification in your marketing, because if you believe one channel is the only channel you're going to use and that channel changes, you've now lost everything pretty much. Channels can change quickly, especially when you're building on Shopify or when you rely on something too heavily. Like, I mean, policies can change, rules can change, prices can change, and then you're now stuck with a business that doesn't have the ability to grow because you're relying too heavily on one channel that's no longer.
That's okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Cool. And that's it, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, Shaan, I mean, thanks for coming on here and answering these questions. I hope you guys got a lot of value from this. And Shaan, where can people find you?
Yeah, I mean, I post a lot on LinkedIn, so you can just add my name, Shaan Arora, on LinkedIn. And then I post on Twitter as well, so and I am Shaan Arora on Twitter.
Cool. Thanks for hopping on, man. Lovely talking, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.